In today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's actually really complicated and we don't understand very well. We're going to be talking about Exemplar Souls. Now, Exemplar Souls are much different from Vox Souls, and we've only had like one brief overview explanation of these Exemplar Souls, so I'm going to do my absolute best to explain them. I'm going to kind of try and piece together a general idea about what they actually do, how they work, and really what they are. But before we get too far in the video, I first want to introduce myself if you haven't met me yet. So my name is Jake and I make speculative yet very informative content on the blockchain MMO Mirandus. And I do this by taking all the information that we've learned so far and breaking it down into small, digestible videos like this one for you guys to watch. So if you're looking for consistent Mirandus content updates, then hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. If not, then I thank you for stopping by and I hope to see you again sometime. In this video, we're going to set a like goal for 60 likes because anytime we do these like goals, you guys obliterate them. So thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. And what hitting these like goals does is it increases the engagement on the videos so that it spreads Mirandus videos to more people. Without further ado, let's talk about Exemplar Souls. And again, I'm going to do my best to explain these. Sorry if I confuse you because I'm confused myself as well. Let's start off with what exactly is an Exemplar Soul. So basically, from what I understand, an Exemplar Soul is kind of like an account for that exemplar. It's more like a specific save file actually. So you can have multiple save files or you can have multiple souls for the same exemplar, which would mean like one may be high level, one may be low level, or one may be an axe mastery, whereas the other one is a range mastery or something like that. So you can have multiple different souls for the same exemplar, but each exemplar type, I believe, is going to have a whole different soul. So I don't know if souls are something you're going to have to buy, if they're going to be you just given to people. It was said, however, that Exemplar Souls will come with an exemplar when you buy them from OpenSea or from the Mirandus webpage or something like that. So all exemplars will come with a soul, and these save files will have things like XP and masteries. I'm not sure about skills, because skills I think are going to be NFTs, and NFTs are going to be in your inventory, and your inventory is going to be different from the souls, I think. So, and the reason I say that is because your inventory isn't supposed to be transferred, and I think your inventory is more of your wallet rather than the soul. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah, if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. This is just how I'm understanding it. So the second question is, why do we need these souls to begin with? Why overcomplicate things? Well, that's a great question. This is actually a really complicated subject. So we need some sort of complicated answer to actually make sure everything works correctly and to incentivize renting. So in my opinion, the main reason it seems that we're doing Exemplar Souls is so that we can separate progress to the account that earns it. I've got some notes over here if you can't tell. I keep looking over there. And whether that's positive or negative progress. So that means that if I have an exemplar and I rent it to you, and you go out and you do a bunch of leveling, you know, you go out and you kill a ton of goblins, or you work on some sort of mastery or something, and you get a bunch of levels. When you return that exemplar to me, you get to keep that experience that you gained while out fighting. And my exemplar, when I get it back, is still going to be the same level that I had it in the first place. So that's great for you, and that's great for the people who are renting the exemplars because they get to keep their progress. Now, it's also great because me as the renter, if I rent it to you and you go out and you die a whole bunch of times, my Exemplar Soul is not going to lose a bunch of levels. Your Exemplar Soul will. So that's kind of cool. Now, another thing that I was personally curious about, and I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that it will be a thing, he just hasn't really talked about it that much, is will I be able to rent out an exemplar as well as its soul, so that I'm giving you, say, a high level exemplar so that you can do some high level stuff? I think that that's going to be a thing. I think it was confirmed, but I'm not positive about that. I think it was the 29th of July So you can go back through and you can kind of read Miranda's master's messages as well as Jay Hughes. So Jay Hughes comes through and he kind of explains things towards the end as well. Both of them gave really, really great explanations. This is just really complicated information to actually wrap your head around. But I mean, it makes sense. This way it does incentivize people who have exemplars, whether they're high level or low level, to rent them out so that other people can use them, so that there can be more people in Miranda's. So I'm going to read just a couple messages from him, as just a couple times he really gives good information about it. I mean, he gives good information all the time, but meaty information. Okay, so here's what he says. So here's our thought on exemplars. What if we decouple souls from the body? If you own an exemplar, you have both the body and the soul. But players who want to rent need a soul to possess the body of an exemplar. So again, that's like the save file versus, we'll call it a vessel. So the body, the actual exemplar itself. So they rent and possess your exemplar. They can control the inventory and level up their mastery and do whatever they want. At the end of the rental period, they take their soul and inventory items with them. If you sell your exemplar, you get the body and the soul. So that means that there is a soul attached to each exemplar. Whether that soul is set in stone, like you have to use this specific soul for the exemplar when you sell it, or you can choose the soul that goes with it. I don't really know how that'll work yet. Just exploring exactly how this will all work. Open to any ideas you guys have, but death needs to have penalty and a renter can't mess your stuff up. He also says that Vox Souls do not intersect with this. And then he does mention something that I'm excited about. He says, but for the exemplar owners, they can level up their character and increase its value for sale, as the spirit would go with the exemplar. Something like that anyways. So essentially he's saying the soul that goes with that exemplar can still be leveled up, so that when you do sell that exemplar and that soul goes with it, that soul is worth more, so that exemplar is worth more. Meaning a level 50 Bright Sun Elf is going to be worth more than a level 1 Bright Sun Elf, which is really, really cool. I like that because that's going to allow people to level up exemplars, and if they wanted to make money by just selling a leveled up exemplar, they totally could. The last thing that McCarthy says about this, he says there's so much to unpack and think through here, so take all this as a brainstorm, guys. I want to make sure we get this right, and it is very important to get it right, so it's good that they're thinking about this. But the thought is, they rent the raw body. They buy their equipment from building owners who craft. Players can also rent gear, but that would happen inside the game, I think, kind of like a vault. And then he goes into talking about how, you almost need like a bank. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what I'm taking it as. So new building confirmed? I think no, it's not. But I think that there still will be a bank. Let me know what you guys think. There's a lot of information there to unpack. Let me know if I missed anything, if I said something wrong. I hope I didn't say anything wrong, but if you guys know something that I don't, let me know in the comments. The last thing that I want to cover in today's video is food. So McCarthy actually talked about food and the starvation state while he was in Discord the other day. So I'm just going to read through what he had to say. He says, so we are planning a very simple design to start. Food and sleep are tied together. Here's how it works, and tell me what you think. Hungry timer. There are two states, starving and not starving. By eating, I can add time to my timer. When timer is at 0, you go into a starving state. Now, the starving state, when you're starving, you recover energy super slow. We are also playing with forcing you to walk instead of jog or sprint. That would kind of suck, and it kind of makes sense. This is me talking, not McCarthy now. But that kind of makes sense. It's a good thing that you just don't die. However, because if you were in town or something like that, you'd be safe. You just have to go find some food, so it wouldn't be super important, other than just walking slow, and you wouldn't be able to craft stuff because that requires energy. But if you were out exploring and you ran out of food, then you'd be forced to walk. Then anything and everything could catch up to you. Unless you had a horse, then that goes into something different. And I wonder if horses will have food stats. I'm assuming so, right? Anyway, let's get back to it. Next is sleeping. So sleeping is how you can recover HP, but you can't sleep if you are starving. Also, sleeping takes 10 seconds or something. We aren't going to make you log out. Okay, that's actually quite a bit of information in just a little paragraph. So sleeping only takes 10 seconds. So that's going to affect quite a bit of stuff. For a long time, we weren't sure if we were going to have to log out, if sleeping was going to take a couple hours, like if it was going to be, a 6-hour timer of sleeping, a 3-hour timer of sleeping. So if sleeping only takes 10 seconds, that means that you're going to be able to fit a lot more people into your inns. So yeah, that's actually going to affect quite a bit. I think I like that, but I don't know how that's going to affect some of the buildings. Regardless, the next thing he says is food notes. So travel food. Bread and jerky are okay on the go. They'll get you 5 minutes to be tuned here, of course. Okay, so not necessarily 5 minutes on your starving meter, but it's not a great food source, and it doesn't perish, by the way, versus a hot meal. So a hot meal is, if you eat a hot meal at the tavern, you get 8 hours on your starving meter, and 8 hours, again, is subject to change. You can adventure all day without having to think about the food. A hot meal is always better. The meal is consumed at the time of purchase. Okay, so there's not even like a time where you sit down and eat the food. You just literally go up, you purchase the food that was prepared, and it's kind of consumed. I don't know. I kind of wish that there was some sort of eating mechanism. I think that, it's not important, but I think it just kind of adds to the realism. Then he says, what do you guys think? We think this is a great way to keep people coming back to the towns and eating and sleeping. I definitely agree with that, with eating. I wish sleeping was a little bit longer, but I also see how it's short. It's fairly intuitive. If you eat a hot meal, you're going to adventure for long periods of time. Good to keep hunk of bread and jerky in the bag, though, in case you're far out of town and your starving meter is near empty. Travel food gets you back to town, essentially. So yeah, that's pretty much what he had to say about that. I'm scrolling down to make sure I didn't miss anything. I know that he said a little bit further down in the chat that all food is not perishable. Or maybe not all food, but he just said food in general is not perishable. So if you were to create a hot meal as a business owner and store it in a storehouse, that's actually not going to go bad. So that's good to know. That way you're not wasting a bunch of money in ingredients for food and then they go bad after preparation and stuff like that. But yeah, what do you guys think? If you know anything about the souls that I don't, or if you remember anything from the food that needs to be said, go ahead and comment it down below. The whole souls idea is actually super complicated to try and wrap your head around. So yeah, if you got something, or if I said something wrong, let me know in the comments below as well, because I'm also pretty confused with this. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace, guys.